Welcome to Adventures in Freeze Drying for Beginners, and today I am going to not be cooking, but looking at my oxygen absorbers. I have some new ones, nice pink circle, they're vacuum sealed. I know these are good, they're going to do the job. But what about the ones I've resealed for myself? Are they still doing the job they're supposed to do? And have you ever gotten one in the mail that wasn't vacuum sealed any longer, and this was the dark blue or purple? Let's find out if any of these are still good. I don't think these are going to be good, so I'm going to cut into these first and show you ways that you can tell that these are not good, unless I'm thinking otherwise. First thing is, it's hard. I can break it back up so it gets to be powdery again, but there's hard lumps in here. These are really solid, so that would be one sign. The second was that this wasn't vacuum sealed anymore, so because it came unvacuum sealed, these you just kind of have to break them, and you can tell, oops, that there's chunks. This one just isn't good. So I'm going to clean up this mess, and then we'll check our other ones. Now I've done some research on OAs, and I found Phil at 4,800 Feet's series where he was checking OAs to see if they were drawing in as much oxygen as they should. So taking a leaf from his book, I've designed this experiment. I'm going to have a control jar with no OA in it because I believe, as my husband pointed out, the water is going to slip underneath the jar, even though initially it pushes all of the water out because of the air. Water's a fluid, it is more dense, air is compressible, and so I think to get to equilibrium, that water is going to slide underneath all of my jars. So we'll have a control jar with no OA in it. Then I'm going to put a good OA in one of my jars. A questionable OA in one of my jars. And 2 questionable OAs in my other jar. You're also going to notice I have gone ahead and pre-marked these. So then using mass, because 100 grams of water is equal to 100 cc's of water is equal to 100 milliliters of water, by using mass with water and initially filling my jar up to this mark, dumping out 100 grams and marking it, another 100 grams and marking it, and another 100 grams and marking it. My OAs are supposed to be 300 cc oxygen absorbers. So as we're looking at the difference between these bad OAs, a brand new OA, and my questionable OAs, we'll also be setting up the experiment. Let's start with my questionable OAs. I like to reseal them in a bag, cut the top off right next to that seal, and I even still put them back in the plastic packaging they came in, like so. These are not hard like the other ones. So I believe these are still good. Now, if you question your OAs and you're not sure they're good, by all means, throw them out if you do not want to chance it. I am simply going to see if these are things I could or should be reusing based on what I think is best. You make your own decision here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off. This is the one with just one OA going into it. I'm using some double stick tape, and I've stuck that to the top, pushing that down. I'll do my control last, and then I'm going to go ahead and get 2 OAs in this jar. So I've got 2 OAs in the bottom of this jar. It is marked as the 2 questionable OAs, putting that upside down in my water bath. Now I'm going to get out a good OA from a brand new package that is still sealed from the factory. I'm going to pull one out, then like I always do, I'm going to reseal this package right away. And then I'm going to put it inside my Mylar and then seal my Mylar. Twice for good measure. So you'll see I've got 2 seals across the top of that. That's put away. Got my good OA going into my known good OA jar. Again, using some double stick tape. We've got my known good OA going in here. And then my control jar, nothing in it, going right here. So I'm going to get this set up with a time-lapse camera, and we will see what happens. I'll set that for about 4 hours, and we'll see where everything's at after 4 hours. It has been 4 hours since we started our experiment. Our control with no OAs still does not have any water in it. So that lets me know that my husband's assertion that there would be water inside is not true. Our known good OA is pulling up plenty of water. Our questionable OA currently looks to have about the same amount of water in it as the known good OA. And our 2 questionable OAs does seem to have pulled in a little more water, maybe. Not by much than the other ones. So I'm going to keep this going. I'll check back with you guys at noon tomorrow, which would be 24 hours since we started our experiment, and we'll see what this all looks like. All of my jars are right about at that 100 ml mark. The known OA is, the questionable OA, the 2 OAs, the only one that's drawn no water in is the control no OA. So I think what I'm going to do is let all the water back out and let these continue to sit, and we'll be back and see if they keep drawing oxygen out of the air or not. So we'll see you in a little bit. So I've gone ahead, I reset those jars like I said I would, and we'll be back in a few more hours and see what happens. It's been about 8 more hours, and all 3 of my jars are up to what I had marked as 100 milliliters, but I had assumed water was going to sneak into the jar without an OA in it, and it hasn't. So that's probably going to be closer to 150 or even 175 milliliters to be at that mark, which means my OAs have already sucked up 300 milliliters or cc's of oxygen. I'm going to dump these out one more time, and we can see if they'll keep drawing up more oxygen. I have all 3 of my jars reset, so we will check on them again in the morning. It has been well over almost 48 hours now since the last time I emptied this. All of these, including the one with 2 questionable OAs, the questionable OA and the brand new, I know it was a good OA, have hit that 100 milliliter mark again, but no water ever entered my control jar that had no OAs in it. So my 100 milliliter mark is off. So I know we filled these up 3 times to that 100 ml mark, and I know where that mark is at. So we will, here in a minute, figure out exactly how many milliliters of oxygen all of these OA absorbers pulled in. I might get this double OA to keep pulling, but at this point in time, I don't think it was necessary with these questionable OAs to put 2 in a package. So we'll see you in just a little bit. Just to help us know how much oxygen my oxygen absorbers actually absorbed, I went ahead and filled the jar up all the way to the lip with water. It weighs 1377 grams. I dumped it out every time it hit my mark for 100 mils, so I'm going to empty water till we get down there. And the difference in mass is the same as milliliters of oxygen absorbed. So let's go ahead and get that figured out. So if I did my math correctly, we started at 1377 grams. With emptying out down to the 100 milliliter mark, we emptied out we're left with 1,163 grams. So we emptied 214 grams of water, which would be the same as 214 milliliters. We filled up to that line 3 times. So over 600 milliliters of oxygen were absorbed with my 300 cc OAs. So they more than absorbed twice what they were rated to absorb. So what did I learn from this experiment? Well, one, I learned that when I'm using OAs, if I get them resealed and put back in Mylar sealed in like 5 minutes or so, I'm not going to affect them. This took a lot longer than I thought it would to drop that first 200 milliliters of oxygen, which tells me these don't work fast. They are slow acting. So, you know, if you're working with them for 5 minutes and you get them sealed back up, they're probably fine. 2, by really looking at bad OAs, I know what a bad OA is going to feel like if it's not going to absorb any oxygen. So when in doubt, if I've had them exposed to air and I'm just not sure if they're going to absorb as much as they should, I can throw a second one in. It's not going to hurt anything, but I'm much more confident now that if I have them exposed for 5-10 minutes as I'm working and get them resealed, they're not going to be bad. I can still use them and they're still going to do their job. So that gave me some peace of mind. You do you, what you are comfortable with, what you feel is safe. I'm not telling you to use those OAs. I'm not telling you not to use those OAs. But based on this experiment, I now have some confidence in the OAs that I am purchasing, that they're going to do their job. Thank you for joining me for this Adventures in Freeze Drying, and join me next week.